The DRC is a massive country, and it's way larger than most people realize. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is located at the very center of Africa and has a population of 95 million people. By 2050, this number is expected to have doubled to more than 200 million people. But its population isn't the only thing that's massive, because this country boasts a land area of more than 2.3 million square kilometers. This number may seem pretty unimpressive, but when compared to Europe, you can see just how massive the DRC is. It stretches all the way from Stockholm, Sweden to Istanbul, Turkey, and even touches parts of France. In fact, it's so large that the decently sized countries of Germany, the United Kingdom, France, Italy, and Poland only make up about 3/4 of the land area of the DRC. This circle in Southeast Asia is home to a majority of the people living on Earth, and here's how. The circle itself is centered on a small town in Myanmar, and it has a surprisingly small radius of only about 3,300 kilometers. Keep in mind that this circle doesn't include any parts of Africa, Europe, the Americas, or even Australia. So how does half of the world's population live within this circle? Well, already, the circle contains the countries of India and most of China, which already contribute a combined 2.8 billion people. On top of this, the Philippines, as well as the islands of Sumatra, Borneo, and Java, add another 114 and 227 million people respectively. Even Bangladesh, which has a land area similar to the US state of Iowa, adds another 170 million people. Part of the reason why this region of the world is so populated has to do with the fact that this region has huge amounts of farmland, as well as a warm climate, allowing for immense population growth. Anyways, this video took a while to create, so I would really appreciate it if you hit that red button. Indonesia, a country with over 270 million people, is changing its capital city from Jakarta to a location on the island of Borneo. For 60 years, Jakarta has remained the capital of Indonesia, so why are they suddenly deciding to change that? Well, as it turns out, Jakarta has a lot of issues. Its population of 33 million people has resulted in mass overpopulation and pollution. On top of that, Jakarta as a whole is sinking into the ground. Its rapid urbanization, coupled with an over-extraction of groundwater in the area, has resulted in parts of the city sinking a total of 4 meters over the past 20 years. As you can see, Jakarta is also located extremely far away from other major islands in Indonesia. The government believes that moving the capital will help distribute development more evenly across the country and promote the growth of less populated regions. What is the longest river in the world? This is a question which seems to have a pretty obvious answer, but it's actually surprisingly complicated. If you were to search the answer on Wikipedia, you would see that the Nile is the longest river in the world. However, if you were to look up the answer on the History Channel's website, it would give you the response that the longest river is likely the Amazon. The problem here is that there's no scientific way to measure a river's length. For example, let's say you wanted to measure the length of the Amazon using lengths of 500 kilometers. Well, this would give you a total length of about 3,300 kilometers. If instead you shrunk the measurements to 250 kilometers each, and then again to 100 kilometers, you would quickly start to realize that the more you shrink the measurements, the longer the river appears to become. On top of this, depending on which points you label as the starting and ending points of the river, the lengths can be extremely different. With all these reasons in mind, it's basically impossible to decide on what the longest river really is. Anyways, make sure to hit that red button.